Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Research Tips and Advice. And today I'm going to be talking about three very quick hacks you can use to improve any form of research, whether you're in the lab, in the field, or working with participants. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Aamir Hussain. I am a researcher at University of Leicester in the United Kingdom. I love to talk about research so much so I decided to make YouTube videos, and here I am making more research tips and advice for the research life. So if you are interested in staying tuned, watching more videos, do consider subscribing if you can, and you can even join my newsletter that I have every week to share further tips and advice. But back to the video at hand, helping you to improve the efficiency of your research. So who doesn't want to make their research faster? Now, when I mean faster, I don't mean that you're compromising quality, you're missing out on data, you're skipping steps. I'm all about making it the most effective and the most efficient possible. Now, this can be you be in the lab and doing protocols and you want to make sure it's as quick as possible. You might be working with participants, you might be transcribing and trying to see how can I reduce the time, because this can be quite arduous. It can take a long time. Or you might be out in the field, you might be looking at some archaeological stuff and you're thinking, okay, what's the best effective way for me to do this? So I'm not here for days and maybe I'm only here for hours. So throughout my PhD, when I did mine, I came across a few tips that worked really well for me, and this video is all about sharing three of those tips. So without further ado, I think we should start with those tips. And number one is all about designing analysis automated templates. Now, no matter what form of research you do, you will have to do some form of analysis. That might be with numbers, that might be with models in the lab, that might be with participants, that might be out in the field. Whatever research you do, you will have to actually embark on doing some form of statistical analysis, some writing analysis, some word analysis. And there are ways to make it slightly more automated than you currently have. So whenever you're looking at doing actual research and analysis, to be like, right, I need to set up this, I need to plug in these numbers, I need to look at this protocol and then analyze it this way. You can try to automate it, because quite a lot of the time you will do that experiment very similarly again, nearly identical in the same way. So you can use the same automated procedure. You can use there's an array of different softwares, and if you can find them, I'll link them here, if not in the video description down below, which you can use to try and automate some of your experimental analyses. And if you're working with participants and you're looking at trying to identify commonalities, there are systems in place that can pick out words and phrases together to try and speed up your analytical time, so you can actually spend more time doing the actual experiments. And one of my biggest regrets was I used to spend hours and hours analyzing the thing that I was going to be doing day in, day out. And it didn't occur to me back then to maybe set up some formulas, even in Excel, and using GraphPad Prism for those who do quantitative research, and having automated procedures there so you can just put in the numbers and done. It's ready, it's analyzed. I can now quickly move on to the next experiment because I haven't spent hours analyzing it. So keep that in mind in terms of designing automated analysis templates. Now, number two is producing an easy code system. Now, throughout your entire research, master's or PhD, even if you're a postdoc right now, there will come a time where you'll have to embark on a large study or a large field of experiments or series of experiments. And within my work, I actually use a lot of epidorms. Epidorms are what you see over here. And the problem is that labeling these with all of the details is quite cumbersome and it can take hours. Quite recently, I had to label over 1,300 tubes. And I am not going to label them every single bit of detail because it's impossible. It would take me maybe 2 days just to label the tubes, let alone put things in for me to use and analyze. So the notion is that you can write on my Mac here, I've got my Apple Notes. I can literally make a spreadsheet, type in new code for experiment X, and I can make gobbledygook equals 1. So I don't have to write now gobbledygook, I can just write 1. And I can use this as a reference list. Now many might be wondering, but no, you shouldn't do that, because what if you're not well and somebody looks at your sample and doesn't know what it is? You can print this out and attach it to the tray that you're going to put in the freezer. You can print this out and attach it to the study that you're going to be doing or whoever's going to be taken on board. That way you're speeding up the labeling process without losing any identifiability, for one for a better phrase. And you can keep and you can give this to your fellow colleagues. That way you're not losing anything, You know exactly what number 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C means, but you don't have to write it all on a tube. But with that, I would always recommend emailing it to your fellow colleagues or in your cloud storage space. Have a printout in your desk and also have a printout next to the tubes, so that way you can always identify which one is which. So that's my take on, especially if you're doing large experiments, you can automate it and make it a lot quicker by just labeling it like this and having a reference list or keyword list for those umpteen amount of samples, Eppendorfs, participants, notebooks or questionnaires, whatever it may be. And a lot of people use this for anonymity, but not realizing it's also quite quick to do that, not just for confidentiality purposes. So keep that in mind, an easy code system. Last but not least, which is my favorite, lazy preparation. And what I mean by lazy is that you're trying to make the next day a lot easier, so you can be lazy by making today a bit more effective. Now, whether you're working in the lab, obviously I'm biased towards that. There are a lot of times where you have to wait for things to spin down, you have to wait for things to incubate or thaw. And when you have a good enough time gap, that's maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, in that time you can do the mundane things that you really hate to do, but makes the next day easier. So let's say, for example, you're running an experiment that you need buffers, you need a lot of tubes. Have them labeled, have them ready in the tray, have the buffers made up. So the next day is a lot quicker. And if you, believe it or not, if you have this cycle, that means every day you can have a more optimized workflow, more efficient, more effective. If you start that habit and you keep it going, so the next day you make experiments or the preparations for the experiment afterwards. As opposed to saying, and believe me, if you don't do it now, I guarantee you will do it towards the end of your PhD. You said, I'll make up in the morning, I'll sort it out in the morning, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it on Monday. If you want to speed things up, you can actually do the things in between those time gaps, so you're not adding any extra time technically, and you can make the next day a lot quicker. And let's say you're out in the field, let's say you're working with participants, get all the codes done ready, get all the, the consent forms and things set and ready, put in all of your details. So when you're going to give it to participants, you don't have to fill anything else in. If you're transcribing, make sure you got all the codes for where you want each audio file to be. Look at your backups, make sure you got all the batteries set up and everything else for your dictaphone. All of these little things. If you're going out in the field and you're collecting samples, make sure you got all the bags labeled beforehand. Make sure you got all the tools ready. And then that way, when you go there, all you have to do is go out and get your samples. Little tips like this, what I like to call lazy preparation, makes the next day easier. And believe it or not, if you actually keep doing it, you're going to save a lot of time in the next week, month, year. And you've got a very, very good habit of being a more productive researcher. So you can see I mentioned lab, I mentioned qualitative work, I mentioned out in the field. All of these apply, don't they? So guys, those were some very useful, I hope, and quick hacks to try and improve the speed, efficiency, and the effectiveness of your research, so you're not wasting or idling time where appropriate. And this can be utilized from when you start towards the end of your PhD, your master's, or your postdoc. The thing is, what I'm really interested in is that if you did find these useful, do let me know in the comment section down below. Do let me know on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram over here, Aamir.phd. And we want to have a discussion about other tips and advice that you probably use already that I have not probably talked about. I'm more than welcome to maybe share them, talk about what you've done, and then try and help the research community. But in any case, I shall hopefully see you in the next one. Hope you're doing well, hope your research is going well, and I look forward to seeing you soon in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Bye.